Hello, everybody. It's meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thank you for joining me as we head through our hump day. Our rain showers are exiting out of the area, as you can see on hutchesweather.com. That severe weather threat is taking hold with active tornado warnings in southern Minnesota, parts of Iowa as well. I'll have the very latest in what you can expect and when severe weather may return to us in this episode of Hutch's Weather. But first, a quick note from my sponsors at Robert Gibb & Sons. They are premier Bryant dealers, the best equipment out there, heating and cooling systems that get the job done whatever it takes. And they come with a guaranteed warranty, 10-year on parts, 3 years on labor. Give Robert Gibb & Sons a call today. Please let them know that Hutch sent you. All right, let's get right out to the radar right now, and we'll show you what's going on across the region. Well, as we go through the 4 o'clock hour and head up on the 5 o'clock hour, we still have a few sprinkles showing up in the northern Valley. Thunderstorms aplenty approaching places like Glendive, Terry, Miles City, Montana, and points north. A little hail from those as well. But the main event this afternoon and evening going on in the Central Plains, southern portions of Minnesota, and also into Wisconsin, near La Crosse, as well as the northern reaches of Iowa, where we did have a funnel cloud sighted in that Mason City area. We do have a couple of active tornado warnings right now. A tornado reported on the ground near Albert Lea here. For this little tornado warning right here near Freeborn, law enforcement officials reported a tornado on the ground over the Freeborn area, and that system continues to move off to the north and east near Ellendale. We do have the Alden storm also that has had a few reports, multiple reports of a tornado southwest of Alden moving right into town. Now, let's get to the single site radar and show you what we have going on. I'm going to have to switch radars, which we have active tornadoes in and around the Twin Cities and points south on the I-35 corridor, crossing at a couple of various locations in and around that point. So let's see if I can get this to pull up the latest radar data. Here it goes. Okay, so we'll start south, move north. Flood warning, flash flooding going on in the metro area, mainly in the northern half or 3/4 of the city. On the far southern storm, here is a look at it. Alden, there is that little hook shape to that echo. That is a confirmed tornado on the ground from the storm spotters and law enforcement in the area. That warning is in effect until 5 o'clock, so seek shelter in that interior room away from windows. And as we take a look at the velocity now, you'll see the colors switch, but this helps us track where the rotation is. Right here near the Alden area, we do have along and north of Interstate 90, the way the radar is showing, moving off to the northeast at a clip of about, well, let's see, the latest report from the National Weather Service had that storm moving northeast at 31 miles per hour. So that storm heading in the general direction of you folks in Manchester and Clarks Grove as we approach just after the 5 o'clock hour for Clarks Grove and on towards Geneva in the near future. Now this storm here, you can clearly see the rotation right here on the front edge, but there's a little bit more rotation starting to take shape, and that will be moving into that Ellendale area as we speak. So if you're in Ellendale, both of these rotating cores of the storm working their way towards you. Now, moments ago, a law enforcement official did notice that a tornado was sighted. This was at the time of 4:37, so just 9 minutes ago. It was located at 310, the intersection of 310 Street and 685th Avenue outside of the Heartland area. That storm is rapidly making its way off. Here is the rotation approaching the Ellendale area right now. So seek shelter from that storm as it works its way in. Here's a very crisp and clear signature of a tornado that has moved right over the I-35 corridor right now. The National Weather Service says that this storm's moving east at 24 miles per hour as it works its way through the southern part of the metro area. So dangerous storms, Faribault, keep your eyes on the, well, not on the storm, on the weather, and make sure that you know when you're clear. This storm moving just along and south of you and heading in the general direction of Kenyon here in the upcoming hour. So a lot of rain has fallen out in the Twin Cities. Let's go ahead and focus on the Fargo area as we do have active storms continuing in and around the Central Plains, including parts of Nebraska and parts of South Dakota as well. So switching this back to the regular radar data that we're typically used to seeing in our area, just a few sprinkles showing up. Brainerd Lakes area seeing some activity as well. Thanks for watching, Leora. Good to have you on from the Oakley area. Now let's take a look at our forecast. As we take a look at the satellite across the area, we've had a gray day. We've had quite a bit of shower activity, and the clouds just keep coming. The line of thunderstorms associated with those tornadic cells that we saw here a bit ago, making its way up into southern portions of Minnesota right now. The hour-by-hour forecast looks like this as we go through, and I'm going to load up the model that I think has been doing the best job over the last couple of days. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. Okay, so here we go. We'll get this loaded up, and here we go. What we're going to be seeing as we head into the nighttime hours around 10 o'clock is showers and storms continuing to work their way through. Now, this model says that by morning there could be a couple of sprinkles in eastern parts of North Dakota here. Not widespread, not severe, just a couple of sprinkles showing up there. Those drift on through and could lead to some cooling across the area. I'm not convinced 100% that we'll see widespread heavy rain, but those will be working their way through as we go through. And then heading into Friday, if you watch this model closely here, as it switches the calendar page to Friday morning, we're pretty good. But starting out Friday night late, a line of storms forming around a low pressure system, a warm front again, meaning all modes of severe weather will be possible where these storms fire up. So keep that in mind. Friday looks to be our next round of severe weather potential. So for today, the rain in the gauges that has dropped across the region looks like this. So this is from midnight on, and we see that along the South Dakota border, healthy rainfall amounts anywhere from 4/10 or more in Mandan and Bismarck. Southern Sioux County, once again, a big winner, 1.63 inches of rainfall there. These expand all the way up to 4/10 of an inch in portions of Richland County. We're at 6/400 in the southeastern quadrant of the county there. Now, sneaking off the page, you can see Lakes Country, west central Minnesota, 1.92 inches. That's the heavier batch of rain that made its way through. Fargo, 8/100 at the North Fargo location from the North Dakota Agricultural Weather Network setup. So a quick look at all of the rain that we've gotten, extremely helpful with our drought outlook. Check this out for North Dakota. We had a severe drought out to the west. Now, we still have a pretty good area here where we got that tan color. That's a moderate drought taking place. We're talking about the north branch of the park up here out towards the Medora area and Beach, North Dakota. Thanks for watching, Tracy. Bruce says 4/10 in Lakes Country. I sure appreciate your reports. We also have an area of northeast North Dakota that is stricken with some moderate drought conditions. And right now it's dry, but there will be a chance for some showers in your particular area. Now, when we look across Minnesota, a little bit more extensive drought in the area that has been battling it. This is basically Bemidji and points south through Hubbard County, heading down towards the Nisswa area. And we also see northeastern parts of the state there, kind of concurrent with what was going on in northwest North Dakota in that moderate drought stage. And in the big sky country of Montana, they've had some gully washers out there, but we still have, as you go from near Fort Peck here straight down into the Glendive Mile City area that's getting some showers and storms right now, that area is in the severe drought concerns in these areas. Where you see the yellows, by the way, that's just abnormally dry. And it remains near the park up there on the glacier side, where we still have extreme drought taking place in that part of the mountains of Montana. So we got more rain coming in the forecast. Here's the digits you can count on as we go through. This is what we're looking for in your forecast. As we go through the night tonight, temperatures sneaking down near 60 degrees here in the FM area and beyond. Eastern Montana, we got near 60 and near 60 to 70 degrees down to start your day down in the southern part of Minnesota. Patchy, dense fog will be a problem there with all of the new moisture and flooding concerns that they've had there. Now, if we get the midday showers, our areas here in eastern North Dakota could see some cooling from those showers, but those dissipate fairly quickly. I do think 5 o'clock temperatures will have a chance at rebounding into the mid 60s, at least for places like Valley City, Jamestown. Fargo, Grand Forks, though, 75 to 80 wonderful degrees for your Thursday, and your 7-day planner looks like this. Friday, severe risk here. All modes of severe weather will be possible. This is not necessarily a repeat of what happened last week, but stay weather aware this weekend. Again, all modes of severe weather, large hail, damaging wind, and isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out at this early point. I will keep you updated. I'll be here with you through the storms. Saturday's storm threat, we'll have a few early morning storms in parts of Lakes Country, then redeveloping storms in the Southern Valley and pushing off into Minnesota appears to be the risk there. Not everybody everywhere on these days will see severe weather, but there'll be a chance, so stay informed. Spotty shower or maybe a rumble of thunder on Sunday. And then after that, pleasant and warming up and feeling summer-like as we begin the month of July. Hey, have you checked out Eventide? Well, whether you're looking for independent living, maybe some assisted living is necessary, or flat out full service memory care, Eventide is a wonderful solution, and I know I've visited myself. Please give Eventide a call today and find out more details about setting up a tour. You won't be sorry. And it's also a great place to work. Go to eventide.org for more information either way. That's a look at your weather. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Again, you can track the storms tonight. I'll keep my eyes on things. We do have active tornado warnings south of the Twin Cities, crossing the I-35 corridor. We'll go right back to the radar for a last look at what's going on across the region. For now, in our area, the radar shows very quiet conditions. You go down toward the Twin Cities, 2 active tornado warnings in a tornado watch zone. That tornado watch zone does include areas south of the Twin Cities area until 10 o'clock, where you see all of these red counties, in towards portions of west, central, and southwest Wisconsin. Strong storms near Preston, by the way, on the Minnesota side of the state boundary, but you get down towards Decorah here, strong storms approaching there as well. 2 active tornado warnings and a huge flash flood warning for the metro area for those very wet storms making their way in to that general vicinity. Here's a look at those active radar displays and what we're seeing here in the area of southern Minnesota, the Faribault area, as well as heading towards Blooming Prairie, tornadoes that have been confirmed on the ground. If you are in Mankato, we still have stout storms, and the farther south ones here may have the best chance at still producing some tight rotations. So stay weather aware in these areas tonight. And then we sneak out to Montana we go. And if you go to Glendive and Terry, Montana, we got some hail making its way through. The hail is just a little bit below severe criteria at around 3/4 of an inch. Expect 55-mile-per-hour gusts there as this storm is approaching Glendive now, Terry now, Fallon very shortly, and also out towards the Zero and Calypso area here in the upcoming several minutes. So that storm is working its way to the south and east, and as the note said here, only 14 miles per hour. So in the area of the drought there, much needed rain coming, but keep that hail off those crops. Here you go, Circle. Some showers and storms on the 200 corridor through your area, non-severe in the area of this blue box, but this puppy right here barks a little bit louder in rural portions up there of the county, as you see just off to the east of Jordan. This one, 1-inch diameter hail potential, and some gusts could exceed 50 miles per hour, or be close to 50 miles per hour, just on the south arms here of Fort Peck Reservoir, the way that looks. So those, another one forming here actually right over the reservoir. So these will be moving over this south arm of the reservoir. You can kind of faintly see the outline of it right there. So if you happen to be on the big lake today, take it easy. Now there are severe storms rumbling through parts of the Central Plains. Look at the Mile High City outside of Denver here. You got this backward C shape, a windy line of storms gusting its way across the high plains and moving off to the east. We do see Scotts Bluff, Nebraska in the path of a few showers and cells moving out of big old Cheyenne, Wyoming out there. So that's what's going on. I live in Morristown and I'm an hour away. Is the weather really bad there? John, let me know what Morristown you're speaking of. I know of a few different Morristowns, and I'll check in on that for you. Thanks for watching from Lake Brunson out there. And I'd appreciate your feedback on that when you get a chance. I'm looking at other feedback that I get. Thanks for watching on my YouTube channel. If you're watching there, throw me a note, as we are always interested in learning where you're watching from. So he said there's a few different areas with some strong storms. All right, Nicole, yeah, definitely not good as we take a look at some of this active weather working its way through the Central Plains now. And checking in on Nebraska, Grand Island, a lot of wind reports coming from this line of storms moving along the I-80 corridor here right through central parts of Nebraska. So from Grand Island to Kearney, Nebraska, we do have some stout thunderstorms, a lot of thunder and lightning with this cell here. Taking a look at some of these wind reports, these storms capable of near 70-mile-per-hour winds. That was actually measured by a weather station out there 3 miles west-northwest of Loomis. Right as these storms made their way through the Kearney area, the couple of gusts of around 58 mile per hour and also some tree damage noted in and around Kearney in the city. Now, as you see the storm making its way towards Grand Island, that's a 62 mile per hour gust that was recorded at 3:23. That would be, I'm wondering if that's central time as well here. So that gust happened on the leading edge of the storm. And you do have still some stormy activity just exiting your area near Central City. You can also see a little bite taken out of the storm there. Hiya, Amy. Good to have you on board watching from Wadena in Wadena County. Good to have you on board. And the strongest storm in this cluster right here near Coatesville, making its way towards Greeley and Spalding as it works its way up. This is not Greeley, Colorado. You're looking at Nebraska right now, not to be confusing. And then as we look out here towards Wahoo, we got us a storm up on the north side of that heading towards Scribner. This one moving to the north and east is severe. It's capable of some sizable hail on the order of, according to the National Weather Service, under 3/4 of an inch, but gusty wind, the main threat, moving at 38 miles per hour. You could see 60 mile per hour gusts from that cell. Looks like it's heading right into Rogers right now. North Bend, you're in the path of this, as is Snyder. You're on the north end, and you can kind of see this backward C shape to that outflow from that storm, causing some windy concerns there. So Central Plains tonight, active weather, not so active here in the Northern Plains, although southwest parts of North Dakota could see some storms flirting with your area in the upcoming minutes. Andrew says, hey, watching on YouTube from Moorhead. Julie, hi everyone, stay safe, watching from Moorhead. Good to have both of you on board as well. Thanks for saying hi. Minnesota and Faribault. So let's go back down to that tornadic storm there to answer John's question. John Bice, thank you for your concern, and thanks for letting me know you're watching. I'm happy to give you a little bit of heads up. This is real-time radar now, and it's showing you what's going on here as we go towards the Ellendale area and points south, and the Faribault storm here moving out in this general direction. The National Weather Service has issued a brand new tornado warning. As this storm is exiting through the middle of the county, there is an update. So let's see. This extends it into the Kenyon area. It's an observed tornado. That means chasers and or storm spotters have observed one on the ground. And let me go ahead and turn on the detailed radar so I can get you a real-time analysis of what's going on. This is radar like you may see on your weather app. It's pretty handy. It gives us this basic idea. I like to look at single site radar data here, and single site radar data does help me with a look at detailed information inside the storm as far as where the rotation may or may not be. At this particular point, it appears that my radar data here is not wanting to come in. I'll try terminal Doppler radar from the airport at Minneapolis, St. Paul there. Okay, here's the storm. Very pixelated looking to us, but what we're seeing here is this little bite taken out of the storm on this side. The Faribault area, you are now out of the tornado warning. The storm that had prompted that warning is now shifted off and is right over here. So the I-35 corridor, you're in the clear. You still have some heavy thunderstorm activity. Taking a look at the velocities with regard to this storm, let me see if I can turn that on. And let's see. Here we go as these colors kind of come to pass. This is a little bit lower resolution on the radar data here as far as how far this one can see out. These terminal Doppler radars have a little bit different channel that they use. So I'm hoping to switch over to Chaska and get this one to work, but see if some data comes in. I see it's loading. Hey, we got it. Okay, thanks for waiting. Love your reports, says Maria. I love the fact that you say that. Watching from the northern Twin Cities. Crazy weather this year. Indeed, I was just there in your area, and I got to tell you, I was there for the big car show. If you saw all the old cars around town, that's where Hutch was. At the fairgrounds. Here's a clear indication of the location of the rotation depicted by Doppler radar. Greens are motion towards Chanhassen. The reds are motion away. So the bright greens and the reds next to each other show that that is the shear area. Again, this is an observed tornado and is now moving over the Highway 60 corridor, Highway 60, between Kenyon and Faribault, heading in the Nerstrand area and rural portions of the county as it moves to the north and east. The National Weather Service says it's moving at that northeasterly direction, east-northeast, I should say, at 20 miles per hour. And let's see if we can go ahead and track that rotation for you. So moving at 20 miles per hour, here we go. I'll go ahead and draw the latest analysis based on this latest scan. I'm going to cheat a little bit on the front side of the rotation because I want you to seek shelter a little bit before and have that extra time. Moving at 20, I'll put it at 24 miles per hour. And again, you can see here, Nerstrand appears to be the only populated area that's in the track of this tornadic storm. Seek shelter. Get to the lowest floor of a very sturdy structure. If you happen to be out camping in any of these areas south of Cannon Falls, please be aware a observed tornado is on the ground in these areas, moving off to the east-northeast at 20 miles per hour. So mainly over rural portions of the county. If you do have weather information, reports of hail, pass that kind of information, reports of branches broken down or damage, you can pass that to your local authorities. That gets passed on to the National Weather Service forecast areas. Speaking of which, I'll take a quick peek at my partners over at the National Weather Service office in Chanhassen in the Twin Cities and see what they have to say about this. Okay, I'm seeing some images of these spinners and twisters out there. Some heavy rain being passed on as well from these storms causing the flooding. So a lot of flooding and flash flooding going on as we look out across that area in the Twin Cities itself. Pardon my eyeballs looking in a different direction. I'm taking in some information here. Okay, that was from a different night. I saw a tornado. And here we have a photo taken from Elk River about a month ago on the backside of the storm system. So some towering thunderstorms moving through the area, a whole bunch of rain. And that's all I'm seeing as far as that goes. The cell that's about to areas south of Cannon Falls and west of Bell Creek in Goodhue City. Did get video of broad rotation a few minutes ago. So there's some people out there spotting these storms, trained spotters keeping their eyes. Nerstrand, Big Wood State Park, a lot of camping going on there. John, thank you for that information. So in that area, if you're in a camper, this is an observed tornado and you'll want to seek shelter and get to the lowest floor of a sturdy structure, one anchored to the ground. Get out of campers, get out of mobile homes, get out of tents, obviously. Don't seek shelter in the porta potty. Look for something more sturdy, okay? You're looking for those maybe brick bathroom houses at the park area. Hopefully they have one for you. If not, look at this. There's a whole line of storms. There's rotation by Waseca, by the way, that looks to be a little bit more enhanced now on this scan as we see some brighter greens kind of closer to the bright reds. And we still have some rotation showing up on this cell that's working its way in the Kenyon area and the Nerstrand area that's moving into that state park area. So please keep in mind, if you are camping, get out of things like that. For this storm, because it's moving east and north, if you are driving away, we don't recommend trying to race away from a tornado, but if you are driving, travel at right angles to the path of the tornado. We know this one's moving to the east-northeast, so if you are in this area and you can get south of it, don't start out up here and move south. You'll move into the path of the tornado. Don't do that. But if you're here at a Highway 60 area and you're camping, or if you're way out here, you have a little bit of time yet to get yourself down south of the track of the storm and continue to search for something that offers more protection. I am seeing motion toward the radar and away from the radar here near Cannon Falls, and that's near Goodhue. So if we look at that, there is some shear in that particular storm. When Hutch points this out, I'm not pointing out that a tornado is on the ground. That is not what a Doppler radar tells us. It shows us where we have areas of movement inside the cloud. The radar beam goes up at an angle and it's telling us inside the cloud it's seeing wind blowing toward the radar in green. So that would be toward the Twin Cities area here. And it's moving away on this side. When the reds and the greens are immediately next to each other and oriented along the beam's axis, which is this way, then we know we have some spin here. So there is some spin at cloud level on this particular scan. Now, some things meteorologists do, me being a meteorologist covering the weather as a chief meteorologist for the better part of 30 years, we can scan up through the skies and look at different scan layers in the atmosphere and see if that circulation still shows up. There it is. It's still there as we go to the next scan elevation up. Starts getting a little bit less organized, but by golly, it is still there as we look up at the next highest level, and it dissipates as we go up higher. So in the lowest three slices of the atmosphere that the radar is slicing through, we're seeing that rotation in that particular storm. So if you're in the area of these storms here near anywhere between Red Wing, Cannon Falls, Kenyon, and down towards Faribault, and all the way down to Wasika, where I'm seeing some continued rotation on that storm. Seek shelter immediately if these storms are making their way towards you. It's not a bad idea to know now if you're camping in these areas in southeast Minnesota, Rochester, Dodge Center area, Plainview, Wabasha, all the way up to Red Wing and out towards Menominee and out towards Eau Claire in Wisconsin. These areas will be in the path of a tornado watch area, meaning all the ingredients are there to make tornadoes. Everyone's not going to see one, but we've had numerous reports on this south storm here of tornadoes on the ground. So whoopsie, I got to put my crayon back in the box here and move on to this Blooming Prairie storm. This one looks less impressive on the brightness of the rotation, but it has a history of producing tornadoes as it went toward the Ellendale area. Law enforcement reported a tornado southwest of Ellendale moving towards the town. Let's hope and pray that things were okay there in Ellendale. As we take a look over here at the Blooming Prairie area, we still have rotation in the storm. One thing to keep in mind, this is farther from the radar, and if the beam is going up like this, the farther we get from the radar site, the higher in the sky the information is. So the radar there is looking at a slice in the atmosphere that's pretty high off the ground right now. So if we take a look at this and I see how high this rotation is off the ground right here, we're looking at feet above the ground. Elevation of the beam of the radar is 1 mile plus above the ground in this area. So it's a little more difficult to be convinced that that rotation is making its way all the way to the ground when it's higher up, and sometimes these signatures look a little bit weaker in that instance. So I keep that in mind, but because we have observations of tornadoes on the ground, that is a very dangerous storm. Owatonna, severe thunderstorm warning for you. Look at this very, very bright rotation going on here. I'm going to tell you what, that looks like a pretty good signature there. A very tight rotation leaving Wasika heading towards Owatonna. The Weather Service says tornado is possible with this storm. If you are anywhere from Medford to Owatonna, seek shelter in the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. Get out of the campers, the tents, and seek shelter in that sturdy structure. This storm is moving east-northeast. It's moving at 24 miles per hour and is heading directly toward the city of Owatonna right now with tight rotation. As the crow flies, how far is it from Owatonna? Here is the rotating part of the storm. I'm going to go on the front side of it here. Into Owatonna is only 7 miles away. At 24 miles per hour, that's a third of an hour. You're looking at about 15 minutes before it gets there, but we can go ahead and get a more precise estimate of that when the new scan comes in. Let me just cheat on the front side of the storm because it's moving as I'm talking right now, and we only get a new scan about every 7 minutes. So about 20 miles per hour, we'll put this puppy right here near Medford by 526, Owatonna by 526. You have 16 minutes in these two communities to seek shelter in that sturdy structure. No observed tornado here, but I would gather the family and get to the lowest floor in an interior room and stay away from this storm. It's very dangerous and tightly rotating, I might add. And the National Weather Service does have what they call a tornado possible tag put on the text of their storm warning. Update on the Kenyon area. This rotating storm has actually picked up intensity and it's moving between Nerstrand now and Kenyon. We can see it's following and moving just north of the highway corridor right here as we look in on Highway 60 there. So along and just north of Highway 60 is where the Doppler radar is picking up that intense rotation. If you happen to be in the Pine Island area and the Zumbrata area out here, we do have a rotating storm right here in the Pine Island area. It's weak, but it's there, and we got a brand new tornado warning as we look down to the south on this system. Southern parts of Minnesota. This is a continuation of the warning that was for this storm with the observed tornado on the ground. This one now moving towards Casson right now. So if you are in Casson and areas just west of Rochester, a tornadic storm with an observed tornado is working its way towards you. So no question about it, this is an active warning for a storm with a history of producing a tornado. It seems to be over Dodge City area heading towards Casson and Byron and the general vicinity of you folks in Rochester and the greater Rochester area right now. This storm is moving east-northeast. It's moving at 37 miles per hour. We'll go ahead and categorize the motion here, the motion, and let you know when it'll be arriving in these different communities right now. So the latest information shows this rotating cluster of the storm right here moving east-northeast We'll put it in that 25 to 30 mile per hour category because I like to give you a little bit of plan ahead time. Casson 522, that's basically 8 minutes to 9 minutes from now. You'll want to make sure that you're seeking shelter in an interior room. Byron by 532, and by the way, Mantorville, it will be in your area as we move through the 523 time frame. Orinoco, if I'm pronouncing that right, you're in the path of this storm by 551 in Hammond, and you can see Orinoco and Rochester would be on the same order of time that storm would be moving its way towards you at 551 if it maintains its rotation. Del Rey asking about Faribault. That Faribault storm just up to the other side continues to move. Let me go over here and clear this out and check in on that. The tornado warned storm has moved off to the east of Faribault. There is no more sign of rotation moving into town, but clear rotation moving toward the Kenyon area. And in fact, it does appear pretty bright near Kenyon right now. So this is the location of the tornado right here, right now. It is basically as the crow flies. Let me get a linear measurement from Kenyon, or that Kenyon area. It is only 1.5 miles away from this area right here, moving east-northeast. It's likely to cross north of this point of the intersection of Highway 56 with Highway 60 right now. 1.8 miles away is all. So that's a very, very dangerous, tight rotating storm showing up there as it works its way towards Kenyon. I'm going to take a look and see if I can see any other indication with regard to these storms, as far as maybe sometimes when they pick up debris, we get a signature of that. I'm seeing some lowering of this target similarity here. The beam sent out by the radar has a horizontal pulse and a vertical pulse. When it hits a round hailstone, for instance, the horizontal pulse and the vertical post both have the same energy returned to the radar. But when there's a difference, by golly, that's caused by weird shaped objects that could be suspended in the air. Longer objects, and we get a lower similarity. So there is a pretty low similarity there and right over Kenyon in this scan. So this could indicate that we do have some activity that's in and around the Kenyon area. You are in danger in Kenyon, anyone in this area. And Juan Amigo, make sure that you're preparing now, because this storm, with a history of producing a tornado on the ground and a confirmed tornado, is working its way toward the Kenyon area. So if we take a look at this same display here near the Casson area, we see this large area of lowered target similarity right there on the north side of the storm. That's rather interesting. A lot of times these storms produce their rotation with the inflow side right over here, but there is a pickup of some information here on the north side. And that isn't too far from where the rotation is right now. So I would say that this one is on the ground, and this is the location of it right now, moving in the general direction of you folks in Casson and the Highway 57 corridor just to the north. So Dodge Center, it looks like we have a debris signature on the ground here with this particular storm. Let me look at another channel and they'll talk about target differences. The more different those targets are, like this, highly different, Dodge Center, boom, and there's a highly different display here, but it's downwind from this one, and sometimes we can get a little bit of corruption there. Trace, thank you very much. Fargo, we are quiet in Fargo from the storms as we take a look right now. So that's what's going on out near the Twin Cities and areas and points south of there. If you are in the path of this line of storms, it's moving through the I-35 corridor now into extreme southeastern Minnesota. 2 active tornado warnings now, numerous tornado reports from those. Flooding going on in the metro area of the Twin Cities. So the travel home tonight in the 5 o'clock hour is going to be delayed significantly as a result of flooded roadways. Turn around, don't drown, find a different path across, particularly when it comes to fast moving streams of water. Stay informed tonight if you're in southern Minnesota. Any way you can get information weather-wise, I'll share with you one way you can, and that's on hutchesweather.com. Please, the first time you log in, let it track your device's location, and if you're in the location of a warned storm, it will let you know right there. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I hope your night is going well. I'll keep you posted right here, but for now, I'm going to take off and have updates as we go into the evening hours tonight. Hutchesweather.com. Anytime, no matter when you're there, you can get detailed information. Please follow me on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube at Hutch's Weather. Tornado over Rochester now, I guess, says Bonnie. Sorry if you said it, I just got on. Okay, we will go back if it's over Rochester. We're not going to mess around. Here's a look at the 7-day planner. I'm going to effort to get that radar back up. I just had shut something down. I'm not going to leave now. Let's go over this. So if you happen to know folks in that southern Minnesota area near Rochester, let them know Hutch is covering with a tag. So we do have on the south side of Rochester here, this is looking at target differences. So maybe we have 2 different areas of debris signatures going on here moving into the Rochester area. There's plenty of cameras out there. Let's use those tools and see if we can see anything with regards. But if you're in the Rochester area, you're not under a tornado warning, but it's approaching the Rochester area. So west of town, Dodge Center is not too far away. There was one on the ground there moving towards Casson and Byron on the west side of that city as it's working its way towards. Let's go to the details and see if we can see anything from these DOT cams. And thanks to the DOTs for putting up such a wonderful network of cameras. Very helpful in winter weather, as you all know. But let's take a look at the Rochester area as these storms are approaching. I'm going to the south side. It looked like that's where the storms were approaching. All the trees out there, you can certainly see that those storms are ominous and heading in the general direction. Here we can actually see daylight behind and underneath the cloud. That's the updraft part of the storm. Here's the downdraft part of the storm. And usually under the updraft part of the storm, we're looking for a lowering of the cloud base called a wall cloud. So not seeing evidence of that quite yet moving in on the left and south side of town. Let's go out a little bit closer to the storm near Byron here and see if we can get a view. Yes. Now we're looking at a very, very low cloud base on this side. It looks like a long tail. That does not mean that's a tornado that's on the ground there, but there is some stormy lowering cloud bases out in that general direction of Byron. Going out to Casson, where I saw evidence of debris possibly on the radar here as we switch through the views that we have here. US 14 at 260th Avenue. There we go. We're looking down at the ground there and we're looking across the fields. Not seeing that we have anything confirmed there. Dodge Center, let's take a look at this area here. So you're in the Dodge Center area. We do have some low clouds in your area. I'm looking around this one's a little grainy, but some of these clouds are extremely close to her. Bonnie said a friend had told her it was over her. So there might be some rotation and whatnot in the skies over Rochester. If you help me out, whether that's on the north side of town or whatnot, let's see. Here is a look on the north side at US 63 at 75th Street Northwest and looking at the camera views there. Boy, we got not only trees, but hills, which make it difficult to see the base of these clouds as they're making their way in. On the west side of Rochester right now, this is a view from that particular area. And we do see, oh boy, we got construction out here going on and storm heading. You don't want to be caught in construction like this when a storm is making its way through, or a tornado warned storm is making its way into the general region and vicinity here. I'm just perusing through a couple of these camera sites here to see. Let's take a look at this one. There's some heavy rain approaching the area. You can see on the left side how dark it is. The raindrops blocking our view just a little bit there. And as we loop through a couple of different cameras in and along this Highway 63 corridor there, it was showing us what it was seeing. Okay, let's see. I am not seeing evidence on this, and it's really difficult for us to be on the right spot, but this is probably the best evidence here of that lowering cloud base or wall cloud. This is US 14 at 280th Avenue, and off in the distance we have a lowering cloud base that has a rain-free base down there, and that is one mean and ominous looking storm. The radar does show now, as we go back to that as you approach the area in and around Rochester, we do have a couple of things showing up here. This white could mean some heavy rain and hail moving over the area. Andrew said, watching on YouTube from Moorhead, thanks for watching. Ethan said from grandparents are from Claremont, Minnesota. They're freaking out. Well, Ethan, I hope they're just seeking shelter, lowest floor in the house. And well, yep, prayers for everybody in the path of these storms. So Claremont, tell me what bigger city that is next to there, as we are heading this storm is heading into areas in and around Rochester right now. We have some pretty tight spin that's over the south side of the city on 63 intersection with 52 right here. But the main tornado warning back here, there's some rotation on the south side. Again, we're getting a little bit far away from the radar site. Let me see if I've got one that's a little closer. Here is another. Ooh, we got a couple rotating storms down here. Caledonia, as well as south of Rushford, we got a strong storm that's showing some tight rotation. This is moving towards La Crosse as it's moving off to the east at 30 miles per hour. It's got a hail threat less than 3/4 of an inch, gusty winds to 60 miles per hour. And there is some shear in and around this storm on the southern side and the western side down here. So again, strong storms in a spinning environment tonight. One active tornado warning approaching Rochester. There still is a threat. Do you see this backward C shape right here? This is now becoming an outflow dominant storm, we call it. That outflow means very gusty winds will be the main threat in Owatonna right now. The National Weather Service says that this storm is moving off to the east-northeast as well. It's moving at 24 miles per hour. Expect 60-mile-per-hour gusty winds. Hey, Tiffany, good to have you on board. Bonnie says Dodge Center moving east at 35 miles per hour. Dodge County. It was near Dunn Center. Oh, Dodge Center, I believe. Okay, Bonnie, thank you very much. So that's indeed exactly where we were looking between the Casson area and Rochester is where that rotation was. That's now pushing out into the general direction of Rochester. We do see this now has moved south of the highway. Before it was right over Dodge Center to Casson, and now we have a little bit of rotation on the south side. This purple is schmuck. It's called rage folding. It means we can't really count on that data for anything. So that particular scan is not going to help us out. If you happen to be in this Kenyon area, I'm still seeing pretty bright gate-to-gate shear, we call it, right next to each other, reds and greens right here. This, as a meteorologist, would be concerning and need to watching. That storm is just exiting the Kenyon area. The tornado warned storm for that area, I believe, has been allowed to expire. We'll go ahead and loop that. Let me see here. So the only active tornado warning is for areas just off to the west of Rochester and this Casson area. We still have storms that are showing some pretty significant signs of rotation. This one here near the Kenyon area, south of Cannon Falls, moving across and toward the Highway 52 corridor there, is probably the one with the greatest threat of a strong spin now, other than the tornado warning storm. So I'm watching that one closely. This looks to be what we call outflow dominant, a gust of wind coming out of the storm. We cannot measure how fast the winds are with the Doppler radar. A, it's high above the ground, but B, the winds are blowing across the radar beam, and we cannot measure winds blowing across the radar beam. A radar is capable of estimating the winds blowing toward or away from the radar, and that's it. So, okay, that's what we have going on in and around southern Minnesota. I'll take a look at the latest now. This is getting a little bit murky. The data isn't as clear here on this storm moving towards Rochester, and what I like to do in this case sometimes is pick out another radar. So I'm going to go to La Crosse. Double Doppler, 2 Doppler radars can help us confirm or deny what's going on. When I look at the velocity out of La Crosse, this storm moving toward La Crosse is spinning pretty tightly. So this is a very tight rotation right here, very clear on the radar display, just off to the southwest of Houston and Caledonia, moving east, northeast. Now, tornado warning just issued by the National Weather Service. So you heard it here on Hutch's Weather. This puppy is rotating extremely tight. The La Crosse radar has the green motion toward the radar, and the bright, bright pinks you see motion away from the radar. This is the location of the tornado. Let's see if this one's been observed and if it's a tornado on the ground. To do that, I'm going to sneak up here and click on the tornado warning. It is observed tornado. It's observed, it's on the ground. So if you are in Houston, this is a dangerous storm. And not only that, that's a very bright confirmation right there. So an observed tornado. We were looking at that bright display there, and that just confirmed it as we went to go double Doppler to take a look and see. Indeed, that storm is showing signs of rotation. I got to put my crayon away here. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and time this out for the Houston area. Now, here is the core of the rotation on the leading edge of it at the last scan. It's moving off to the east-northeast at 24 miles per hour. I'm going to go a little bit more than that because these scans are not delayed, but they take a 6-minute time period to move through. Hoka by about 6:05. This rotating storm will be in your area and the La Crosse area by 6:18. Now, it's hard to see this area here, but La Crosse right over here, and that's the red area that is the motion of that particular storm. So it's moving in the Hoka and La Crosse area. Houston will be very, very close to that tornado warned storm moving through your area. So seek shelter, interior room, stay away from any windows and get to the lowest floor possible. If you want to think of junk flying through the air like Hutch's calculator here is debris. If this debris is picked up by a storm that's blowing it through the air at 100, 200, or 300 miles per hour, this calculator is going to leave a nasty mark. And you want to get out of the path of the flying debris. Number one, instinct tells us to get low. Number two, you just want to get below the level of the ground to get out of the storms altogether, or the path of the debris altogether. Kara says, are storms coming through Friday now worse? I saw someone post about it being orange, white, and red being a bad mix. Kara, that's a good question. Friday's storms in Fargo, I do think, have a risk of all modes of severe weather. I don't want to needlessly make people really scared about it, because we just had a terrible and unbelievable combination punch of a derecho along with active supercell tornadic storms. Loss of life, I believe, has been up to 4 now from those. So these storms can be scary when they strike property, and that's definitely a possibility on Friday. I will keep you up to date on that. There is a risk of severe weather, all modes, hail, gusty and damaging straight line winds, and tornadoes Friday late in the afternoon and evening hours, and then into Saturday, another chance of severe weather in the Southern Valley moving into Minnesota. That was at the top of my broadcast. Brian says, watching from Perth, Australia, nothing like this ever happens where we live. Wow, and everything rotates a little different there in the Southern Hemisphere. So thanks for watching, Brian. I've always wanted to go to your area of the world and experience it for myself. Beautiful country. New Zealand and that whole area, just fascinating to see. All right, let's get back to the details on this storm. Tornado warned confirmed, very crisp and clear definition to this rotation. It's moving likely to areas near Houston and just south of Houston in the upcoming half hour. And as we go towards a little bit farther out in time, it will be moving in the general direction of La Crosse, Wisconsin, there right on the border. Yes, tornadoes can cross rivers. Yes, tornadoes can cross lakes. If you think your community's safe because of a river being there or whatnot, that's just not the truth. Bemidji got hit bad by the storm. Ethan, you're exactly right. That storm did make its way all the way from Bismarck, North Dakota, through Fargo, North Dakota, through Enderlin, North Dakota, worked its way through Lakes Country. There was damage reports all the way to Bemidji and all the way into the state of Michigan as well. New tornado warning updated for you folks in Casson. This is the same one. This one is set to expire at 5:45. The rotation in this storm, as we're looking at it from the radar out there near La Crosse, is this way, and it's over Bryan. There's also some rotation not far from the Rochester area. So we do have some shear picked up in the cell that's right over Rochester right now. Earlier, we did take a look at the DOT cameras there, and I'm going to go right back to them now, because if we now have a location on the north side of Rochester is where I'm seeing that shear. So I'm going to pop up into that area and see what we can see here on the north side. Is there anything ominous looking? Let's look from the Douglas area. We do have low clouds showing up on this scan right now, or this photo. US 63 at 75th Street Northwest. We've been here before, and now as we flip through, look at this. These are some scary looking clouds dragging below the level of the thunderstorm base. If it's below the thunderstorm base and detached, then I got to tell you, it's called a scud cloud. It's called an SLC, a scary looking cloud. But if it's attached to the thunderstorm base, you see this one on the left side here, where it's attached to the parent thunderstorm right above it, the parent thunderstorm there, that's attached. That's a lowering of the cloud base. That could be a wall cloud moving over that particular area. This just says view 2. It doesn't tell me whether I'm looking north or south from this intersection, but we can take a peek around, and that's what that camera showed us. That was helpful. Now let's go a little bit farther south of that. This isn't far from the Zumbro area. Let's see if this camera will help us with any kind of a look. Oops, I'm going to go back one, looking more carefully at these displays here as I do so. It's just real hard to see anything with the trees and the low clouds crossing through the tree pile there, whether or not there's anything going on. But a little bit of weak shear showing up in that storm that's moving near the Zumbro Ridge Estates area on the north side of Rochester right now. A lot of heavy rain also showing up in that particular area. And there's no tornado warning from the National Weather Service on this particular storm as of this time in Rochester. But to the west of you, there is a tornado warning that was in effect. It looks like it was just allowed to expire. So, yes. Yes. So in Rochester, the tornado warning has been canceled for the storm moving in. That's good news. There is a storm moving towards you, though, with a history of putting tornadoes on the ground. Owatonna area, we do have some radar data to share with you and a tornado update for the Kenyon area as well real quick. So we'll do that. So taking a look, back to the radar we go. Okay. Bonnie, traumatized from a tornado in the Bemidji area. Boy, what a lot of damage those windy storms did. And when they come through at dark 30 and you can't see anything, it's equally as scary. I understand, but staying informed is the best thing you can do. And planning where you can go to stay safe is also a very, very good thing that you can do. All right, so if you are in the Wanamingo area here, there is rotation on this storm. This is depicted from the radar in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Motion moving away in red, motion moving towards Owatonna. Right here's the rotation. Wanamongo and Zumbrota are all in the path of this particular rotating cell. This storm here, the National Weather Service, is a Doppler indicated tornado. No confirmation of it on the ground, but a dangerous, tightly spinning storm. If it's not tornadoing right now, it very well could at any moment. Seek shelter in that interior room on the lowest floor. Stay away from windows. Huge thunderstorm warning for this windy line of storms here. Why do I say that? These winds can be measured from the La Crosse radar out here. How strong are they? Well, they're strong. If I go ahead and take a look at straight velocity data, not storm relative velocity, so let me switch over here, we'll get an estimate of what these wind speeds are doing at elevation, and you'll be impressed when you're seeing 60-mile-per-hour gusts at elevation. Now, this is way up in the sky. It's close to a mile or a little more up, and that means that it's not saying that that wind is on the ground. But with rain and hail falling out of the storm, some of these winds that the radar is detecting up aloft can very well be mixed down toward the ground. So we do have that case where we could see some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And now if I change this over, there are some calculations that this software can run through to calculate some gust potential. So let me see if I can effort to pull that up. Wind gust estimate from these storms now near Owatonna. Let's take a look at what this is estimating on the backside of the storm. 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust estimates. So looking into the Doppler radar helped me see that that was the case. How big is a 35-mile wide tornado? I don't know if I've ever heard of a 35-mile wide tornado. So it's 35 miles wide. A huge tornado is like the one that hit Enderlin, North Dakota on Friday night. That's 1 mile wide. There have been examples of tornadoes 2 miles wide. So a 35-mile wide tornado is not one that I've heard of. Ellendale had the tornado above, my friend, not in Rochester. Bonnie, thank you. That helps clear things up. I appreciate that. So now this is what we have going on. Tornado warning down here, Caledonia. That's moving right toward La Crosse. A windy thunderstorm that is called outflow dominant, blowing its way into areas just off to the west of Rochester. So the tornado warned storm has dissipated and significantly weakened. That's moving into Rochester. And then a windy line of storms will follow that as it's working its way off to the east at about 25 miles per hour. So if you're in the path of this Owatonna windstorm right here, this moving east at 25 miles per hour, that puts it in the Claremont area by 5:45 or in the next few minutes. West Conrad, Dodge Center, the same areas that the last line of storms passed through. Mantorville, Casson, all before 6:15 we'll see activity. And then on towards Byron by 6:23. So Zumbrata, we do have the tornado warned storm. Let me see if I can see if we got a estimate here of the rotation and where it's at. It is moving right near Wanamingo right now. There's your rotation. It's still evident on the Doppler radar. It is right over the Highway 57 corridor right now, just north of the other east-west highway, Highway 60 in this area, south of Cannon Falls right now. Pretty stout-looking rotation, way up high, showing up north of Lake City right there. And again, these storms are going to be crossing out into southern and western parts of Wisconsin. If you're in La Crosse area, there is a tornado warning storm heading in your general direction. Severe thunderstorm warning now issued for my friends in Glendive, Montana, and points south for a Boeing line segment of storms making its way out of that area. See if I can effort some data out of this one. This is a long ways from any radar sites out here. Pardon me. So let me go ahead and pop up the Billings, Montana radar here. If my there we go. So this will take just a second to load. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in Billings, Montana. This is the outward band, outside capabilities of the radar here, able to detect, and it's way up high in the storm. It is depicting some spin or shear in the storm. Let's take a look. The main threat is going to be gusty winds and some hail to around 1 inch in diameter, 60-mile-per-hour gusts in the wide open country from Glendive all the way through Terry, Montana is where this storm is moving. Fallon, you're going to see it as well. Let me go to a normal radar display here that's going to give us some average radar data of multiple radars and take a look at that real quick. So there is a hail core that's making its way just out of Terry right now. 1 inch diameter hail south of Glendive out there, working its way south of the Yellowstone River Valley here in Dawson County, Montana. This little backward C shape means a gust or burp of wind is heading towards Beach, Montana with that storm as well. Little bit of a pooch on this one on the south side. That pooch is a bowing line segment, like a bow and arrow. Where it bows or pushes out, that wind is accelerating the storm in that direction. Gusty winds will be approaching from the west-northwest, so prepare for gusty winds from the west from this northern branch, gusty winds from the west-northwest on that southern branch, and a core of hail. 2 individual thunderstorm cells moving through this watch box area. 2 specific storm areas of damage moving in toward the Black Hills here on the north side, northwest parts of South Dakota, southeastmost Montana. Huge hail possible from this one. In fact, 7/10 of an inch was seen by the Albion area. They're 2 miles to the northeast of that, and that hail core is heading towards rural portions of the county there, south of Ekalaka, south of Baker, and making its way into northwest parts of South Dakota near the Black Hills, and Lusk, seeing strong storms. Cheyenne, Wyoming, a backward C shape for storms that are moving out of your area and generally into the direction of you folks in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. That's what's going on right now. I've covered this extensively. If you're in southeast parts of Minnesota, a tornado watch does remain in effect for you. I'm pulling up the watch boxes now in red. Anywhere in this area, all the ingredients are there for tornadoes tonight. We do have thunderstorm watch here for northwestern Iowa, parts of northern Nebraska for tonight. Bruce says Vining received over 1 inch this morning. Rain again this afternoon into the evening. Yeah, it's been a soggy, groggy day. It looked like last night most of the rain would stay south, and we had a cluster of thunderstorms develop into what we call a mesoscale complex, a low pressure center, a mini low, and it just continued the showers all day here in our area. Warning now in Goodhue area, Barn. Thank you very much for that as we take a look at the southern Minnesota area here. So we do have the Zumbrata, Wanamingo tornado warning storm working its way towards Goodhue. That's pushing its way off to the east. That is a tornado warning for that particular storm, and it will be pushing towards Goodhue. You're right. We do have this windy cluster of storms here with gusts over 60 possible in isolated places, particularly along that Boeing segment right there, right along the Casson area between Claremont and Casson. We also have a severe thunderstorm and tornado warning storm here heading towards these La Crosse area. And the velocity couplet on this one was very impressive, very bright, very evident. A confirmed tornado was on the ground and heading in the general direction of La Crosse. So let's see if we can pull up the radar data. And indeed, it is still extremely strong, showing up right here south of the Houston area. So if you are in Houston on the Minnesota side of the river here, let's measure. The rotating part of that storm is only 4.5 miles south. It's moving off to the east. A terrible couplet here. I would be surprised if that still doesn't have a confirmed tornado on the ground or a tornado on the ground. It's moving towards Hoka, moving towards La Crosse as it goes through. By 6:17, it will be in the Hoka area. It's only moving at about 25 miles per hour. You can see its movement is east-northeast right now. So that's what's going on with that. That's a very dangerous storm. If we look at Houston and Caledonia from the DOT cameras, let's see if we can pull anything up from that neck of the woods. It's awful hilly, cliffy, and whatnot in that neck of the woods. So we'll go ahead and take a look from the DOT cameras that we have out in those areas. Minnesota roads going down on the map here to the southeast part of the state as it moves into La Crosse, Wisconsin. We do have a camera in the path of the storm. I'm particularly interested in what it looks like from the south. And this one says no worky right now. So that camera is out to lunch. Let's see if we can find somebody that's not. Here's the one that's looking into the storm. You can see the hills. I was talking about the cliffs and low hanging clouds that make it very difficult to see over the top of. So we're going to need to be able to see right into that storm. And I don't know that we'll be able to until it makes its way over some of that terrain. Let me check this one camera just a little bit farther south here. That one too offline. See, there's one more here. Let's see if this one will show us anything. Nope. All three of those cameras might be a data issue, are offline. And on the north side of the storm, let's see if we can see anything looking south. Yeah, this is the I-90 view. I-90 westbound, it says. And you can see some very low-hanging clouds here. It makes a lot of sense if these clouds are this low to the ground. It doesn't take as much chance for any rotation in the clouds to make their way down to the ground because they are so close. So dangerous storms working their way along the I-35 corridor. This is between the area just north of the tornado warned storm near Ridgeway on I-90. So it's not going to be able to see that far with all the hills and terrain there. But that's a very dangerous storm. With the rotating part of the cell working its way right in the general direction of you folks in La Crosse. So kind of a slow mover, but it's heading in your general direction. All right, that's a look at what's going on now. I'm going to sneak off right now. If you are in the path of these dangerous storms and you happen to be in areas of southern and eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin on the Minnesota border, take heed, stay informed. Warnings continue. The watch continues until 10. You can keep up with the latest on hutchesweather.com. For now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I'll continue to track the weather tonight. I'll be back with updates a little later. Stay tuned to me right here on this Hutch's Weather channel. Please follow me on my Facebook page, Hutch Johnson, Chief Meteorologist, or subscribe to Hutch's YouTube channel called Hutch's Weather. Thanks so much. And until next time, stay tuned and stay